Hello and welcome to a chapter a day. It's Friday. Yay! Made it safely through another week. So it is May the 24th and we will be reading Numbers chapter 24. So we are reading about Balaam and Balak. Balak is the king of Moab at the time that the children of Israel are passing through to go onto the land of Canaan that God has promised for them. But the problem is Balak has heard so many things about this large group of people just moving through and fighting their enemies and winning, and he gets afraid that they're going to come through Moab and do the same thing. And he calls on this person. I don't know if I should call him a prophet, Balaam, because I'm not sure if he's working for God or I'm not quite sure. I've read this book how many times, this chapter rather, and I still am not sure, because he's conferring with God before he can do anything. God is giving him messages to give to Balak. Balak isn't reading what he's saying. He's not able to track because of his spiritual affiliation. It's not with God. So he keeps taking him from one place to the next to curse God's people, and Balaam keeps telling him he can't do it. And I can't for the life of me figure out why doesn't Balaam just stop going. But like I said, I think he has taken money from Balak or taken whatever gifts Balak had to offer him. So let's see what happens in chapter 24. And when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he went not, as at other times, to seek for enchantments, but he set his face toward the wilderness. And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel abiding in his tents, according to their tribes, and the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam the son of Beor hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, he hath said which heard the words of God, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel. So, another time that Balak had offered to take Balaam to another place, he prepared altars, etc., offered offerings, but then he realized that God still was not going to allow him to curse the people of Israel. So he goes off into the wilderness, and the Spirit of God comes upon him, and he begins to utter all of these words of blessings upon Israel and to acknowledge the Israel that God has blessed. Verse 6. As the valleys are they spread forth, as gardens by the river's side, as the trees of line aloes, which the Lord has planted, and as cedar trees beside the waters. He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. And his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of an unicorn. He shall eat up the nations his enemies, and shall break their bones, and pierce them through with his arrows. He lay down as a lion, and as a great lion, who shall stir him up? Blessed is he that blesseth thee, and cursed is he that curseth thee. And Balak's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he smote his hands together, and Balak said unto Balaam, I called thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast altogether blessed them these 3 times. So, I guess Balak maybe is now starting to figure out what's going on. He realizes that Balaam, of course, he knows that God is not going to be cursing his people because God has blessed them. And I guess now Balak is finally deciding to end his attempts at cursing God's people. 3 times he has tried it, and 3 times it has failed. And Balaam can only say what God has put into his spirit, into his heart and mind. Very much like us today. Whom God blesses, no man curses, and vice versa. Verse 11, therefore now flee thee to thy place. I thought to promote thee unto great honor, but lo, the Lord has kept thee back from honor. And Balaam said unto Balak, spake I not also to thy messengers when thou sentest unto me, saying, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the commandment of the Lord to do either good or bad of mine own mind, but what the Lord saith, that will I speak. And now behold, I go unto my people. Come therefore, and I will advertise thee what this people shall do to thy people in the latter days. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam the son of Beor hath said, and the man whose eyes are open had said. So finally it reaches home. He cannot curse the people, even though Balak gave him the entire nation of his tribe of people. He still cannot do more than God would allow him to do. It is so much like when Satan came to tempt Christ after his time of prayer and fasting, and telling him, hey, I can give you this, I can give you that, just like Balak is saying here, I could have promoted you to great honor. And this is what's happening with the world today. They are taking the bribes of the world, and these men and women of Satan, honestly, that's no more than they are. And they are doing things and being part of organizations and part of entertainment schemes where they are literally just giving away their souls to these people in exchange for fame and fortune. And that is something that they cannot easily retrieve if they want to, because God is the one who gives us things without any substantiations of, hey, you know what? I am requiring your soul. God blesses us because we follow him. But these people are misled by the fact that, hey, I'm going to be rich, but I can do everything that Satan wants me to do. Some of them are even bold enough to still claim affiliation with God, and they know they're living the devil's way and doing the devil's work. Verse 16, he hath said, which heard the words of God, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now, shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall he come, that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. So now Balaam is prophesying against Moab. He's telling him all the things that Israel will do. They shall be conquered by Israel and become like Edom and Amalek. Verse 21, and he looked on the Kenites and took up his parable and said, strong is thy dwelling place, and thou puttest thy nest in a rock. Nevertheless, the Kenite shall be wasted, until Ashur shall carry thee away captive. And he took up his parable and said, alas, who shall live when God doeth this? And ships shall come from the coast of Shittim, and shall afflict Ashur, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever. And Balaam rose up and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way. That's the end of chapter 24, and I guess that's the end of Balak's attempts to curse the children of Israel. And I will say this again and again. When you are in God's favor, his hand of mercy is upon you. And anyone who's in God's favor is under God's shield and banner. There shall no evil come nigh thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. He shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Because that is the promise of God's people, from God to God's anointed. So we stay in God's favor. I don't see why anyone would want to come out of it. What is there to go after? The world is just being run by Satan and his imps. Honestly, if you look around at the heinous things that are going on, even what is coming through the screen, screaming at you daily, sometimes people choose to watch the most awful things that just kills their souls, kills their spirits. And we need to be aware that these are not things we ought to be involved in. The entertainment of the world is not for God's people. We need to keep our minds clear and clean and uplifted on spiritual things. So until our next reading, I pray you have a wonderful day. Stay in God's favor and be blessed. And remember, faith comes by hearing God's word. Until our next reading, have a great day.